I want to know how our facilities are performing relative to each other. Perhaps one facility is performing much better, and by comparing the facilities, we could try to figure out how we can make the other ones perform better. What I really want to do is pull the average overall equipment effectiveness metrics back so that I can analyze that data. If I wanted to compare this facility's OEE to another facility's OEE, I had to manually aggregate this information for the other facilities. This really took a long time and was not that effective. However, I can use AF and asset-based analytics to automatically roll up and calculate the summary statistics for me. Now, if we go back into Pi System Explorer and take a look at line 1, you'll notice that line 1 has the OEE attribute, and this current value is about 60%. If you look at line 2, this OEE value is about 70%, and line 3 has OEE of about 54%. Now, management wants to know what the average OEE is for the entire facility of Cleveland and the entire facility of Houston. Let's go ahead and see how we can do that. I'm going to go ahead and go to my library, and I'm going to select my facility element template. And the reason I selected this is because I want to store the rollup or the average OEE values inside the facility. I'll go ahead and create a new analysis template. I'll call this analysis average OEE, and I'm going to set the analysis type to rollup. Now for rollups, you're basically obtaining summary statistics over a set of attributes. These attributes can either come from child elements of a particular facility, or it could come from attributes of the facility. In this case, we want to roll up the attributes of the OEE calculations from the child elements of each facility. You can also specify an example element here. So let's say I want to specify Cleveland. I can select that. And once I do that, you'll see a list of all the attributes that are from the child elements of the Cleveland facility. You can see that you can see the names of the attributes as well as the parent elements that contain those attributes. For the average OEE calculation, we want to obtain the average for all the OEE attributes. So we need to filter for the attributes. You can filter based off of the attribute name, the attribute category, the element category, or the element template. In this case, it's pretty simple. We just want to filter by the name of the attribute, which is OEE. I could type in the entire name of the attribute, or I could also use masking characters. For example, I could use asterisk, and it'll match anything that starts, any attribute that starts with OE. Down below, you'll notice that you can select the functions that you want to utilize and obtain summary statistics for. We want to select the average. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on evaluate, and this will give me the average of all the OEE values for the Cleveland example element, which comes out to be around 61.9%. You'll also notice that there's a column for the output. So I could go ahead and output the average into a pi tag. I'll click on map and select new attribute template. I'll call this new attribute average OEE. The default unit of measure will be percent. And I'm just going to go ahead, go to settings and make sure automatic tag creation is enabled. I want to run this average OEE calculation every 8 hours, so I'll select periodic for the scheduling. I'll set the period to 8 hours and click on OK. Now if I go back to my elements, I'll need to create the pi tags to store the results of these rollup calculations. To do that, I'm going to right click on the root elements and select Create or Update Data Reference. Once that is done, I'm going to check in my changes. And now if I click on Cleveland, you'll notice that I have my average OEE attribute, and its current value is point created. If I go to Analysis tab, I'll notice the average OEE analysis, and if I click on Evaluate, you'll see the same 61.9%. If I go to Houston and evaluate as average OEE, I'll get about the same, 61.9%. Now that we have the Rollup analysis configured using Estimate Analytics, let's go back into Excel, and in particular, we're going to take a look at PyDataLink. And what I really want to pull back from each facility is the average OEE values. Now I'm going to go ahead and use sample data to pull back evenly distributed timestamps and values for the average OEE. For start time, I'm going to use the shift that starts at 4 p.m. on June 11th, and the end time would be the day after. I'm going to set my time interval to be 8 hours because that's how long the shift is. Now you'll notice here I have values returned as well as the timestamps. And you'll notice that the average OEE has been dropping over these 4 shifts. I can also switch to the Houston facility. As you can see, with the roll-up analyses, obtaining summary statistics is a lot easier than before.